Our guest today is underwater photographer Kagi Yasuaki. Kagi has explored many of the world's most renowned dive spots and has dedicated his life to capturing the beauty of the sea. Soon after the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake, he began diving in the waters of the disaster area to document the scars of the tsunami and the state of marine life. He has a unique style when it comes to photographing the world beneath the waves. We asked him about the thought and effort that goes into his work.
Not everybody gets to peer into this underwater world. I get to see into that world and photograph it. I always try to convey a sense of the extraordinary through my pictures.
Here are some of Kagi's photographs. He shoots in renowned dive spots appreciated by divers the world over. To date, he's explored the waters in over 30 countries.
The Maldives, Egypt, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia. I've dived pretty much everywhere but the North and South Poles. Under the sea, you come across these unimaginable creatures, from the big to the microscopic. I press my shutter when I encounter one of those creatures, or when they surprise me. I also take pictures of open undersea landscapes that people love. I shoot many things.
Kagi's photographs have a rich color palette: orange, pink, red, green. The vivid colors are eye-catching. He captures the colors as he sees them and keeps any retouching to a minimum.
When you're underwater, it's like you're seeing everything through a blue filter. But when you remove that filter, for example, by using underwater lights or a flash, the natural color that's there really pops. The world beneath the sea is just as colorful as it is above the surface. You've got things like sea anemones and coral. For me, when I see colors, I feel life. You feel this vigor or this enchanting beauty.
Something else stands out about Kagi's work. He likes to capture the many expressions of marine life up close. Here's a sea lion he photographed in the sea off of Mexico. His own action created an unexpected photo opportunity.
There's this island inhabited by 100 or so sea lions. I was diving there, and at one point, I look up and see this sea lion looking down at me. I quickly brought up my camera and started shooting, but I could only hold my breath for so long. So then I exhaled, and all these air bubbles went up into this sea lion's face. What a scene! And that's the picture I got in that moment.
Here's an extreme close-up of the eye of a fish.
It's called a Japanese parrotfish. Fish eyes have this reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, which enhances light sensitivity. Depending on the angle, the eye shines green or orange or whatever color. That eye shine is quite beautiful. It's like it reflects the universe. I love shots like that.
Kagi's been capturing scenes like these professionally for more than 2 decades. He was inspired to dive with his camera by the award-winning Japanese underwater photographer Ito Katsutoshi.
I went to see a photo exhibition of his. At that point, I didn't know a thing about the sea, but his work truly moved me. There was this up-close photo of a turtle taken head-on, and this shot of a moray eel with shrimp. It made me curious about the relationship between them. His photos were like a microcosm of the sea itself. That's what really spoke to me, I think.
After graduating from university, Kagi began working under Ito as an assistant. As an initiate, His first job was to master proper diving skills.
He became my teacher. First things first, he said, go out on 100 dives. I would say I'd always been somewhat athletic, but in the beginning, I just couldn't dive correctly. The thing is, diving is inherently dangerous. The power of nature is so great. The flow of the tides, the sheer scale of the great deep. Experience and knowledge are both vital.
Kagi built up his hours working as a diving guide and began shooting his own underwater photography on the side. Then, on one dive, he had a harrowing near-death experience.
One early morning, I grabbed my camera and went diving alone. I was so foolish. I went down to close to 80 meters. I was focusing my camera on this little creature when all of a sudden, this black mass started closing in from my periphery, almost obscuring my entire view. I got very scared and started a rapid ascension from 80 meters, which you're not supposed to do. When I got back up to a depth of around 20 meters, my view suddenly cleared up again. I'd suffered narcosis. When you breathe compressed nitrogen, it can cause this anesthetic effect that can cause you to black out. I was just about to lose consciousness. That experience really made me realize that the profession I'd chosen, diving, is a matter of life and death.
Just as Kagi was embarking on his underwater photography career, he got the chance of a lifetime. A friend invited him on a trip to photograph a rare animal.
A friend living in Australia called me up. Come down, you can get shots of southern right whales. We took a Cessna and flew along the coast for about 3 hours. Then we chartered a boat. On the second day of shooting, we spotted these whales acting strangely. I got in the water and got as close as I could. Then I realized the whales were mating.
Here are some of Kagi's photographs of that encounter. It was the first time anybody had captured southern right whales mating at such close proximity. The work won him one of Japan's most prestigious animal photography awards. He's gone on to photograph great white sharks and giant manta rays, sea slugs and anemone fish, and all types of other marine life. Kagi says that he takes a holistic approach to shooting marine wildlife.
I try to get in sync with the rhythm of life in whatever ocean I'm in. There are seas of all kinds. At first, they feel foreign, but as my body acclimates, I start to sense a wavelength that flows through the environment. I find if I can tap into that, my shoots go surprisingly smoothly. To put it another way, I try to become colorless and transparent, blend in, just one living creature, swimming face to face with my fellow living creatures.
March 2011. Kagi set off to northeastern Japan on a new assignment. Magnitude 9.0. The Tohoku region was devastated by a massive earthquake and tsunami. A publishing company hired Kagi to photograph the waters along disaster-stricken areas.
The assignment was to shoot the fragments of day-to-day human life that had been swept out to the seafloor. It was a job I couldn't decline. If someone had to do it, I wanted it to be me. It was partly ambition. But the other part was that I really wanted to photograph the marine life that had managed to survive the earthquake. A part of me thought, if they send someone else, they'll probably come back with only pictures of submerged houses and cars and other debris. I wanted to show people that there were fish that had survived and were persevering.
Kagi's first dive was in April 2011, just 3 weeks after the earthquake. The world beneath the surface was unlike anything he'd ever explored before.
There were all sorts of things scattered about underwater. I had my fins on, and I'd kick a couple times and come across an upright piano. A few more kicks, and there was a grade schooler's backpack. A couple more kicks, and there was a cymbal. And tableware, stuff like that. It all felt very out of place. I was determined to photograph everything I saw.
Kagi searched and searched amid the wreckage on the ocean floor for any sea creatures. But he found no signs of life. Just as he was about to give up, he found a glimmer of hope.
At the very end of my dive, I discovered a lump sucker, this little fish about the size of your pinky nail. It's a poor swimmer, and it has a sucker on its underside that it uses to attach itself to rocks. We divers just love this fish. Whenever you encounter one in the water, you can't help but smile. I was so happy. I was able to find and photograph this little lump sucker on this lifeless seabed. And I wanted people across Japan to know that even in that damaged environment, these creatures were persisting. That fish was a sign. I was meant to dive in that ocean at that time.
Kagi has continued to make periodic trips to the region to conduct dives. His objective is to document the ocean environment healing over time.
I got this shot of seaweed sprouting out of a car wheel. That really left an impression on me. The idea of new life sprouting forth from this artificial object, it was heartening. The vitality of life. Several years in, my focus shifted entirely to the birth of new life in this disaster-stricken ocean. I took photos of marine life hatching and similar scenes like that. I remember just being unable to put my camera down.
March 2021, 10 years on from the earthquake. Kagi and 4 of his fellow photographers put on an exhibition on Japan's oceans. Kagi himself contributed stunningly vivid underwater shots from his trips to the disaster region.
With the 10-year anniversary coming up, I'd been trying to figure out a new focus, a new angle. So I tried shooting underwater, like I've done everywhere else. And so I set off my strobe light, and it revealed this scene of primary colors, yellow and red. And this was in the Tohoku region, off the Sanriku coast, where people picture the ocean floor being cloudy and muted. But I discovered it was alive with color. I wanted to show everyone that the ocean in this disaster area was actually home to this unbelievable underwater seascape. Persistence. I want to continue to return to the coast off the disaster area. But also, I've been diving for 30 years and a professional underwater photographer for 22 years. I was very lucky to discover underwater photography at such a young age, and I've been lucky enough to pursue this path as a career. I don't look forward to growing older, but I get excited when I think about my relationship with the ocean when I'm 60.